Add me to the stream. Hey guys, or guy, if there's anyone here, it's probably one of you guys. We'll see 3 or 4 of you a little bit later on. Thank you very much for coming. It is a sunny day, probably someday, somewhere in Thursday, somewhere. For some of you guys around the world, currently a little bit late at Japan time, 20:30 in the PM. And we're going to be discussing a couple of cameras today. Mainly, two cameras that are separated by 1 decade. That's 1 decade, 10 years, for you guys that need a translation there. They are the 5D2, which I have, just a moment, tennis elbow, right here. 5D2, and you know what? Maybe I should get the other one. Just a second. I'll get that bad boy. Maybe I'll get that bad boy. Just a moment. I'll put the headphones down, and you guys sit tight, because I'll be right there. Second. I'm also going to check the message here. Oh, whoa. All right, hey, just a second. Here you go. Don't look down. Never look down when a guy gets up from a live stream. Never look down. Bloody hell. All right. Don't look down. All right. None of you guys look down, I hope. Of course, I say that almost as a joke, because I noticed that currently there's no one in the live stream. In which case, if I were smart, what I would do is I would tell a joke, hopefully one that I haven't heard before or told before, but I'm not sure that's going to work, because I really only know 2 jokes. And the best joke, the best one that I've told so far, by the way, hey, cheers to like no one out there, basically. I should have left the bloody, what is it called? Should have left the bloody intro on just a little bit longer so I could to gather the troops here. Got 2 people in the chat right now. Thank you very much, whoever you are. Make yourselves known. Be like, hey, I'm Mark, or I'm you know, if you're trying to hide your identity, you don't have to do that. But make yourselves known. If you're a regular, say, hey, Nathan, it's good to see you again. If not, then I just hope that you guys will behave. Anyway, thank you to all one of you who are here right now. Boys and girls, the other camera I'll be comparing today is the X-T2. By the way, I think, you know what? Hey, we'll start off like this. We'll go to Fuji Rumors. See if we can do that. And go to fujirumors.com. And let's see if we can share this screen here. Let's see here. No, that's not. Take away from screen. How do I stop screen, share screen? Here we go. We go to Chrome tab. We go to Fuji Rumors and share. Check this out. So just today, if today is the 17th of September 2020, pardon me, just had a beer. Firmware updates for Fujifilm X-T4, X-T3, X-T2, X-T1, X-H1, X Pro 3, X Pro 2, X Pro 1, X-E3, X-T20, and X-T30 released. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? And 85 comments. Now, are those the firmware updates that we have? By we, I mean all of us who own something like the X-T3 have been waiting for. And by my daughter's having fun in the bath. That's a good thing. And by the firmware update that we're waiting for, what I mean is we all know that inside the X-T3 are the same guts as the thing that basically drives the X-T4, except for IBIS and maybe who knows what else, some maybe better heatsink or whatever, as well as the X Pro 3. And yet this thing can only focus down to a minus EV of 3. And the X-T4 and the X Pro 3 go down to minus 6. Now you're like, come on, man, the X-T3 is a freaking great camera, man. What are you talking about? Why are you always bad-mouthing this thing? Well, today, I'm not really going to show exactly why I'm not bad-mouthing, why I'm kind of wishing for a few upgrades, but I will just show back to back a camera from, again, 12 years ago, actually, the 5D2. So 10 years older than the X-T3, with, basically silicon that is as ancient as can be in the digital camera world, as long as we're talking something that can do live view of video. And this does live view video. As you know, this is like one of the first cameras that had a full frame sensor. In fact, it may have been the first one with a full frame sensor that was available to the masses that could take video and very horrible audio. So this was seen, well, you'd see some of your dramas, some of your favorite sitcoms or whatever would actually use this in certain scenes for video. And I'm not doing that today, but for photo mode, and I get this a lot. I get people telling me that the XT series, they upgraded to the XT series from their Canon 5Ds or their Nikon like D800s or D700s or whatever. And I understand going from the like the let's say D700 to something like an X-T2, you're basically getting double the resolution. But did I share the screen properly? Let's make sure I did. All right. But if you're coming from something a little bit later, you're not getting, well, for instance, this thing has 21, I think, megapixels, and the X-T3 has 26 megapixels. So it's 5 megapixel difference. Today, we're going to see how much of a difference that actually makes in real life with some provisos, but we're also going to see, my daughter's having a fun time. We're also going to see how well it actually works in the studio. I took a video of me using the 2 cameras. I can't do it. I don't know how to like do it while we're doing it live. Someday I'll figure that out. But suffice it to say that since getting the 5D2, I've basically wondered how true it is when people say that the X-T3 or the X-T series give better photographs. Now, a couple of things. There is some sort of anti-aliasing filter over the sensor on this thing, so images should be softer. As well as, if you're using a lens that was designed sometime in the 1990s that came out in like 2002, which is this 24-70, this lens is soft. It looked great on the 5D. It looks okay on the 5D2. Anything, if you're using full frame, anything over probably 18 megapixels is going to out-resolve this lens. So if you're going to compare this thing with something more modern, like from 2015, like the Fujifilm 16-55 f2.8, there's no comparison in terms of sharpness. We will do comparison back-to-back and sort of like image style later on, and maybe sharpness, but you'll just see it. There's no reason to compare this. But the point is this. You're basically comparing. It's not fair. It's not fair in some ways because the lenses aren't as. If you're comparing a lens from almost 2 decades earlier, it's not fair in general. Unless it's a prime, maybe it's okay. But apart from that, I have found that even when it comes to autofocus, as long as you're using the center point in the 5D2, it's faster and more reliable in good and pretty bad light. And the X-T3 could be a lot better, I assume, for bad light, but it currently lags behind in the center of the frame a camera from 2008, which is 10 years prior to its release, which is redonkulous, if you ask me. Now, you may be a Fujifilm fanboy, and you may also be like, oh man, why is Nathan harping on the Fujifilm again? Well, I just gotta be honest with you, I'm getting out. I've had enough. And today's here. Let's scroll down here. Fuji rumors here. Fujifilm has released several firmware updates. A little bit of a scissoration there. We'll try to fix that. Down below, you find all the details officially shared by Fujifilm. The main course of the meal is improved support for the Fujinone XF50 f1.0 RWR for enhanced AF speed and enabling color shading correction to mitigate subtle color casts when images are made at the lens, funny way to use that apostrophe, maximum f.1 or 1.0 aperture, whatever. So it's basically an update for this brand new $1,400 or $1,500 lens, but let's skip down there. Is there anything new? Has the firmware come out that would essentially enable -6 EV focusing from the X-T3, which it is capable of because, as we know, the same guts are shared by 2 cameras that can use or that do go down to -6. Let's check it out. Let's go down. Fujifilm X-T4 version 1.1. Don't need that. Here, wait, let's see. What does it say there? Camera performance used with that lens is optimized. The phenomenon is fixed within multiple flash shooting when EFX 500 is used. Don't care about that. Fix of minor bugs. Okay, now here we are. X-T3. This is it, guys. Version 3.30. And it's not like a 3.29 or something like this. Is a 3.30. So it's almost a point release. A minor point release. Camera performance used with, okay, so that lens is updated. The phenomena is fixed with a multiple flash. Okay, so the same problem that plagued the X-T4 is fixed on the X-T3. That's good of them, and fix some minor bugs. So it appears that we don't have the -6 EVF focus fix, which is kind of a shame at the moment. Oh, by the way, got to say hello to Victor Multanen. Hi, I'm a regular. It's great to see you again. Fujifilm company really appreciate their customers. Yes, I think, okay, Victor, I'm going to have to agree with you and disagree with you at the moment. Disagree with you right now because I'm coming at this from the perspective of one of those longtime Fujifilm users who have seen their basic modus operandi of support the camera as long as we can, update it so it's a great camera into the future, and making it live up to its full hardware potential eventually, to a company that are like, we'll do the Sony thing and we'll just release a version with the same guts but give it better functionality. That's where I think we're stuck right now. So Kaizen, basically, maybe the last of Kaizen ended with the X-T2. I'm not sure, but it certainly didn't help XH1. Didn't really help the GFX 50S, which is gone now, by the way. And the X-T3 looks like it's gone. The 100S didn't really get anything. The 100F didn't really get anything. The X Pro 2, I'm not sure, but I think. Yeah. So are they actually the company that really appreciate their customers? I covered that in my last live stream, or was it a video? I don't remember. I think yes and no. In general, I think if they're sticking to their guns, they're sticking to APS-C, they've got the most rounded, as you know, the best lineup for APS-C cameras on the market. There's nothing that compares to their lenses in terms of they're basically covering everything from super wide angle. I don't think they have a fisheye to, well, everything up to 400 millimeters. Now, you're not going to be able to do your super sport stuff. You're not going to be able to do your birding stuff. But basically, up to that point, you basically have everything covered with a single APS-C sensor system, and no one else comes close to that. However, if we're going to start getting into that conversation, we might as well mention the fact that if you get an APS-C from like a Nikon or Canon, you can use those EF lenses, and then you can go as long as you want, and you can do all your birding, and you can get in closer. So, yes and no. Yes and no. But today, the point of this video, ladies and gents, is actually not to talk about how well the lenses cover everything. Because today what I did, and you'll see the video later on. By the way, welcome to my studio. This is where I took the photographs that you'll see today. The camera stand right there. I should actually, you know what? I didn't put a lens cap. Do I have a lens cap? I should put a lens cap over the back of that camera. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Where is it? All right, don't know where it is. Guys, I just want you to pray that no dust goes in the back of that bellows, okay? Victor, since you're the one right now that's at least commenting somewhat, pray that doesn't get in there. Don't know where my lens cap is. Should have taken pains to check where it was, but I didn't. All right. So today, anyway, what I want to do is basically show this camera, X-T3, and the 5D2 back to back, taking essentially as close as I could the same image using, now here's one of the provisos, not the same lens. When I did the GFX and EOS R as well as GFX and SL comparison, I used the same lenses. I also went into 35 millimeter mode. And you know what? You can actually use the same lenses and then use the full sensor of the GFX with no ill problem. Because the lenses that I use, for instance, here's one. This is a Gineron, this is the 80 millimeter f4, a very sharp lens. Basically, it's going to be as sharp as any of your macro lenses from any of your Canons and your Nikons and your Fujifilms. But it's a tiny little thing, and it covers, I think this one covers up to 6.6x7 or 6x8 film. So it's massive. Oh, you got a Canon M6 Mark II. Victor, I want to hear your comments about that. That was actually a camera I was really thinking about before I picked up. This might work. Hey, I'm going to put this over on the back of the camera. Gather your thoughts, Victor. I want to hear your thoughts about the M6. Now, if you are using Fujifilm, if you're a Fujifilm user, please contrast, just give me a couple sentences, how the M6 Mark II is working against your Fujifilm system. If you're not, well, just hold that thought and just tell me how much you like it. I'll be right back, going to cover the back of the camera with this. All right, that should be it. Hopefully sound's coming through. Victor, am I still sounds coming through? All right, hopefully. Looks like it. Looks like all the settings are. Hopefully the settings are good. All right. All right, well, Victor, I'm going to wait for your answer there. Until the moment, basically, the camera I'm using is, you know what? I think I can open up the website. Let's go to Novaflex website. I did a review a long time ago at Fuji Rumors. You know what? We'll go Fuji Rumors. Fuji Rumors Ball Pro. Let's just do that. See if we can just sort of, how do I do this? Remove that. We didn't get what we wanted there. Stop screen, share screen, Chrome tab. I can do this. No, that's not it. Fuji Rumors Ball Pro. All right. Hopefully nothing bad comes out through here. Part one. All right, so this is a long time ago. This is 2014. This is the first medium format bellows I ever purchased. Okay, obviously, yes, this article that I published at Fuji Rumors 6 years ago shows a, what is this? Sony A7R. That was what I was using with it. I'm using basically the same lens as I was using back then. It's a great, but somewhat limited system. Looks like they're using Photo Bucket. Interesting. Anyway, you can see it here. I was using at the time an X-T1. That is it on a table outside, including the vertical sort of remounting system. And there it is next to a 4x5 camera, a bellows camera right there. Gosh, there's lots of ads all over the place here. Hopefully you see. Is this showing everything? All right, it's showing everything. Good. All right, so yeah, basically this camera here on the left that my mouse is over, that's the camera that I was using for today's photography. And the lenses I was using, doors open over there. The lenses I was using basically is the, where'd it go? Oh, thank you. This tiny lens, the Generone Digital 80 millimeter f4, as well as a really, okay. The other lens I was using is a sharper lens. It's 120 millimeter f5.6 Schneider. What is it? Digitar APO-M. It's a sharper lens. However, all the images you will see today are stacked. And what I found is even if you use the sharpest lenses, for some reason, when you do stacking software, there's interpolation. And with the interpolation, basically doesn't matter how sharp your lens is, they all get the same sharpness for some reason. Afterwards, you can apply sharpness and you can get more out of them. But for the purposes of today, I don't think you're going to see a big problem for me using a better lens, actually, yes, for the 5D2, and a lens that's still better than all your lenses from Nikon and Canon, etc., for the X-T3. But the reason I went for the 80 millimeter for the X-T3 is, and I could have, if I'm using full frame and I'm comparing it to GFX, I can definitely use the same lens. You just back the camera out a little bit when you're using full frame. But with APS-C, sorry, comparing to full frame, the distance is too great because the sensor is 2.5 or 2.25 times smaller than the full frame, and it just becomes too much. So I compromised. I basically used the 120, and then I backed. Which camera did I back out? Maybe they're supposed to be basically essentially the same because you'll multiply one by 1.5. So 80 times 1.5 should be 120. So you should get essentially the same framing. I found that there's a little bit of brightness difference. It could be that the transmission for the 80 millimeter is better. Whatever the case is, don't worry about that first proviso, which is the Schneider is a sharper lens, because when it comes down to it, there's no difference essentially once everything's interpolated. And again, it's a stacked image. I think for the first image, we'll get to it pretty soon. First image, it was like stacked 5 to 7 layers, basically. It's very minimal stacking. And the second one was even fewer. I think it was like 4 or 5. I didn't keep the original RAWs. Probably should have done that. All I care about for today is just showing two cameras back to back in sort of output mode. Now, 2 images I'm going to show you before I get to this here. I'm just going to explain it here. Is I took a picture of a macro lens, a Canon macro lens. It's a 35, I think it's a 35 millimeter f2.8. It's called a photo macro. It was back. They basically did it back on their Canon bellows for the FD mount, and it has an FD mount on it, and it covers just 35 millimeter. But it's a super sharp lens. It's basically shaped like a cone, so it's perfect for all sorts of light coming in this way, backwards, forward, etc. It's manual focus, tiny. I should get it. You got to see this bad boy. Hey, just hold on for a second here. Victor, hold on for... Hey, cheers, man. You're not a Fujifilm user. All right. I'm going nuts, but to buy the Bools. Bools? Jules? You mean Jules? All right, guys. Give me 10 seconds. I'll show you the lens. 10 seconds. Okay, I hope you didn't look down when I was doing that. Okay, Victor, you're here. Okay, so check this bad boy out here. This is the Canon macro lens that was a subject for at least half of today's live stream. This tiny little bad boy here. This is a macro lens, 35mm lens. So as you can imagine, okay, a lot of people who are not really into macro photography, they're like, why don't you get like a 50 or a 60mm for an APS-C, or like 100mm for full frame, or 120 or higher for what is it called? Medium format. Well, when you have a quote unquote wide angle lens like this, once you get it to macro extension, a 30mm lens is going to get you way in farther than 100 would. If you're putting on bellows, a bellow draw of like this is already at like 5 or 6 times magnification. But if you're using a 100mm lens, it's not even at 1 times. So if you want to get to 1 times magnification, you have to draw your bellows out to like here. And by that time, the 30mm would be like 6 times magnification. And this lens, Canon officially say, I think it's supposed to go down to 20 times magnification, but the image falls apart roughly after 10. Now, you can mount it onto other macro lenses and get farther, and it's a damn good lens there. But yeah, it's tiny little. I'll be covering it a little bit later, but check out this. This is a regular replication lens or duplication lens. Again, Generone 80mm digital f4. Very good lens, covers 4x5. I bought it in a lens board, a DAB lens board. If you buy it separately in like an actual shutter, it costs a lot of money. But if you get it in a DAB board, I think I got it, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago for about $200. But this little thing will destroy your Nikon and your Canon, what are they called? Macro lenses. Very good. And it's not a dedicated macro lens, but it basically does good. And this lens is actually slightly better for full frame. Now, let's see if we can do this right, because I had this all set up and I'm not. Let's see here. Let's turn that off. Okay, good. We turn that off. Hey, got myself in full screen. Nice. Now this is not what I want to see. That's my video. We'll keep that up there. Turn that off. I'm talking to myself. It's all right. Okay, we're gonna go to Lightroom here, guys. And let's hopefully I can manage this. I'm still, StreamYard is a lot better than OBS for me. The camera and the computer doesn't blow its fan all crazy, and it seems to do a lot better in terms of CPU load, etc. Let me just see here. Bam. All right, let's just check in. Share screen. We're gonna go application window, Lightroom, catalog. Okay. So I think let's just see. Victor, can you tell me if you can see what's on the screen at the moment? Victor or anyone else, can you see a plug on the screen? It's actually not the plug I want to show right now. Why am I showing the plug? We'll get to that. I'm waiting for some action. Not action, I'm waiting for some sort of answer here. Victor or somebody else. Do we got any? See, Victor's going nuts by the bulls. I am here. I mean the technical camera with a digital back. Oh, you're looking to get a digital back with a technical camera. Dude, well, speak up, man. Type a lot. I've used Exact 2. I've used Ball Pro TS, which I still have. I've used Cambo Actus, and I've used a 4x5 camera. Anything else I've used? The Leanhoff M679 CS, which was like my first video on this channel. And I've used the Ball Pro, the Leanhoff, and the Exact, as well as those 3 cameras with the technical back, or sorry, with the digital back. Sorry, I'd never have used. Wait a second. Did I ever use? I did use the Actus with a technical a digital back when I tried it in the shop at Take, which are like the distributor for Cambo here in Tokyo or whatever. So out of all those 3, depends on what you want to do. If you want to do macro, you just do point form, ask me a bunch of questions. I can tell you which one may suit you best for weight, for technical ability, for focus smoothness, and then tell me about the backs you're looking into. Backs, of course, have come down way in price. All professional gear does. Once you've used it, it's basically worth half. But there are things definitely to consider when you're wanting to get into a back. But can you see the plug on the screen? That's what I want to know. Can you see it? Victor, I'm counting on you because ain't no one else giving me a comment here. Cheers, by the way. It's an IPL. It's an India Pale Lager. It's actually decent, by Kirin in Japan. Dripped it. Victor, can you see the plug? I'm just gonna have to assume that you can see the plug. All right, I'm assuming that you can see the plug. Okay, Victor, you can see the plug. I'm gonna remove my You can't hear me, or you can hear me now, but when I take this away, I need some feedback, guys. Live streaming is, you know, some people make it look really easy. Dangerfield makes it look. You can't hear me? All right, this ain't good. This is not good. Am I supposed to, if I go like this? No, that's not it. You see, you can't hear me talk. There's no talking here at all. You don't hear me at all. Mute mic. Mic is not muted. Mic, how do you tell? Oh man, that's not good. Cam mic, let's go to settings here. FaceTime, audio. It shows that that your audio is coming through. Not sound is back. So you mean you were watching that for like 5 minutes with no sound? Wait, I need your help here, Victor. Oh man, this is gonna be a great video. This is gonna be like when I was using OBS. Just like that. Okay, I guess what I'm gonna have to do, if that's the case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to Lightroom. We'll stay in the full screen here. Okay, sound is back. We're just gonna trust that everything's working right. Victor, thank you very much for getting back with me there. I'm very sorry for that problem. It's like 5 minutes without sound. Okay, basically what I was doing for 5 minutes. Now, I hope you can hear me. You know, I'm just going full screen on this image just one more time. Victor, I'm gonna ask you right now, can you hear me? And then I'm gonna look over at the chat or whatever. And if you can't hear me, it happens. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, great. 5 minutes, no sound. All right. Well, Victor, I'm very sorry for that. Basically, I was explaining. Wait, let's go back to the 5D2 image. That is a 5D2 image. All right. Oh wait, you know, let's go. Okay. So basically, I was explaining this. I took the same image with the 5D2 here and the X-T3. Differences are basically this. The lens was different because I couldn't frame it in the same way. The full frame and X-T3 APS-C are just too different in terms of sensor size. Two, because I was using 3 different reflectors to get light to come back into, I'll show you here, to get light to come here, as well as here. Now, if this were an actual commercial image, everything would be shot differently. I wouldn't allow this sort of stripe to be there. I wouldn't allow this black nastiness here. Everything would be done differently. I'd probably use another reflector under here. But when you've done that, when you've got a whole bunch of reflectors here and there that otherwise clutter up the image, you have to take them out in post. So what I have to do is take a picture of the background with the same lighting. So the light is, I've got basically a light from the background that's shooting into the back of the lens. And that is why you see the lens portion in the front glow. The light is coming through. And in order to get light back in the front, but not too much, I don't want to blind it. I just kind of want it to gradually come back in. I use reflectors, and I used basically a bright plastic reflector. I used a styrene block, and I used one more styrene to just basically shoot the light back in it. Underneath was a plastic thing. I would have wrapped it around otherwise, but basically those things have to be taken out in post. So I took 5 or 6 images in stack form to take the lens to get everything in focus. And then I took 2 separate images, one in the background and then everything else, which I took all the reflectors and everything out using just basically, cloning it out or whatever. Not cloning it, masking it out. So what you're seeing is a composite image, as composite as it gets. The last thing that I was explaining that I did, I just want to make sure, okay, sound's coming through, great. Sorry about that, man, I'm really sorry about that. The last thing I did was the reflection here that you see, now this, again, not a commercial image, so I didn't edit the way I would a commercial image, but the reflection here is actually from the X-T3, it's not from the 5D2. Why did I do it that way? Because when I'm taking 2 different cameras, 2 different scenes that have a lot of importantly placed reflectors, if I were to move the reflectors as well to take the background for the 5D2 and the reflection for the 5D2 and then put the reflectors back, what would happen is that I would move the reflector somehow, and somehow the image would change in some other characteristic way. And if I did that, then what would happen would be that you would look at this image and you'd be like, how am I supposed to compare them? Because they look too different. The lighting is too different. So basically, I took the 5D2 image, I took the background with the X-T3 and the reflection with the X-T3, and then I took, with both cameras, I took this lens itself. And then what I did was then I used Helicon Focus and I used the stacking software to make this composite image. And I took this composite image and I put it on top of the background taken from the X-T3 as well as this reflection. So there is a slight color cast difference between the reflection as well as the lens. And that's because the X-T3 and every single Fujifilm camera I've ever used, even if you sync with gray card and use color blocks and all that, even if you use that, there's some sort of blue cast for some reason. So you'll notice that the reflection is a little bit blue. The background isn't blue. Not sure what happened there, but for anything that basically reflects back in the camera goes a little bit blue. So that's the setup of this image. I just want to make sure we got no problems here. Got no problems here. All right, Victor, thanks for hanging in with me there. Now, so you know that, I'm just going to show you one other thing that seems a little bit weird. The X-T3, at least this lens, seems to possibly transmit a little bit more light. So I took them at the same I think it was f11. And even though this was taken at f11 with the Gineron and the Schneider was also taken at f11, what happened was, for some reason, the 80mm lens is brighter. But apart from that, they're the same images. Again, background is the same. I just took the shiny reflector table, I defocused it, like pulled the bellows all the way back, shot an image, then transposed that underneath this thing and took out any like nasty big blemishes. Then the reflection was from the X-T3 and all the reflectors were taken out. That's it. So what you're looking here when I compare these two images is, I want you just to look at the 5D2 image compared with the X-T3 image and just see what we're looking at. Again, we're looking at a camera from 2008 versus a camera from 2018. And if you are in the Fujifilm camp or the Canon camp, and you've been wondering if you're going to get better image quality from a mirrorless camera versus your full frame camera, now, that absolutely you can. If you have a full frame, basically this is the conclusion to this entire essay is this: if you have a full frame mirrorless camera, you'll probably get better image quality from it than you will from your old DSLR. However, APS-C, even if it's 10 years newer, now you'll see there are some definite improvements with the X-T3 over the 5D2. However, when it comes to just basic, let's check this out. What? Oh, you can't do it like that. Okay, we're gonna have to go like this. I'll try to scoot this back a little bit. All right, wait, that's it. All right. So on the left, we have the 5D2 dark, and on the right, you can see X-T3 dark. And we're just going to zoom in. Can we zoom in a little bit farther? Let's see if we can. Maybe. Oh, here we are. We're going to just look here. Oh, the other thing is I didn't use an X transformer for the X-T3. I found that Lightroom Enhanced Details works just as good for this sort of photography. I don't know for nature if one is better or not. But so we should have, essentially, because the X-T3 has no sensor stack on it, it's got no anti-aliasing filter, it should be better. It's got higher megapixels, 10 years newer. All the Fujifilm people are like, when I moved from Canon, I got better image quality. Well, here's two images next to each other. Overall, I don't find a difference at all in sort of image detail or quality. The other thing is I cropped these two to be the exact same size. Now you notice again, the X-T3 is slightly lighter than the 5D2, and I don't know why that is. But apart from that, everywhere I go on this image, when I'm zoomed in, again, I don't know, 400% or whatever, I'm not seeing any better detail from the X-T3, or I'm not seeing at base ISO, or sorry, this is taken at ISO 200. I'm not seeing any better noise performance from the much newer sensor. In fact, for absolute detail, I might suggest that the 5D2 is a little bit better. Now, that could be, again, the lens is slightly better on it, but when you use Helicon focus, everything basically goes to parity. Everything's even out as far as I can tell. I might scoot down here. I'm not seeing any difference. The last thing I was trying to mention that I guess got cut off, you can see in the 5D2, there's some stair steps here on the edge of the lens. And that is because when, again, I had to cut the lens out. When I did that, I didn't properly, what's the word in Photoshop? Select and mask. Usually I would select and mask with a feather of like 0.2 or something like that, and I didn't. So on the X-T3, you're getting a smoother sort of just fall in. On the 5D2, it's pretty stark, and I didn't bother with cleaning that up afterwards. I could have, but I didn't. But yeah, it's I'm not seeing any real differences. Now, why don't we? It might be a good idea to perhaps. I wonder if it's possible to get out a compare here. What we're going to do is see if we can move that over. We can't move that over. I want to see here. This is the 5D2 image. If we lift the shadows or anything like that, what's going to happen to this main image here? We're going to go exposure. This is a camera from 2008. We've gone exposure plus 1.8. I'm not seeing banding on the lens itself. If we go shadows and blacks, not seeing any problem here. And of course, the reflection here is from the X-T3. So this is a TIFF file. Basically, I would say this: if I were contracted to use either camera, and this is my very honest opinion here. If I were contracted to use, I'm going to copy these settings here, and I'm going to then put them over on the X-T3 image. Wait, did I do that right? I want to make sure we didn't. Don't want to change a crop, because that, if I change a crop, then that'll change the image size. All right, paste it over the X-T3. All right, so 5D2. Oh, just a moment. Sorry, guys. Lock zoom position. Here's 5D2, and let's just go quickly. X-T3. Even with plus 1.8 exposure, 100% shadows, 100% blacks, I'm not seeing. I'm actually probably seeing a little bit better sharpness from the 5D2. But there's nothing really between these two images. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you here, I'm just going to go back, reset this image here, and then reset the 5D2 image. Wait, did I do that right? No. That's right. Okay. Well, hopefully that's right. The next thing I did was I took the same images, and one thing that sometimes people that I'm asked to do, and I found this is, by the way, this is just a trick here, in case any of you guys are looking to do commercial photography for this sort of thing. This is kind of an interesting trick you can do, which is, I'll go back to Lightroom here. You take the same image, take it on black. If you want to get a white reflection, take it on black. You can do it on white, and there are some advantages to do that. You get kind of a softer roll off of the shadows. And this is not again, I wouldn't use this sort of image for actual commercial stuff. I would do things differently. However, just to show you, to take the same image here, there's a 5D. Oh man, it's still. All right, I didn't get it back. Right, okay. So here's the 5D2 image here, and here's the white. Basically, it's the same image. I just cropped in a bit, and then. Instead of using I did use the same black background, but then I inverted it and used a white gradient. And the reason why I would do this, now you can use it on white. If you shoot it on white, it's actually easier, it's faster, and you will actually get, it's more subtle. But if you want to have a hard shadow in there as well, and actually if you take it on white and you use the right reflectors in the right way, it'll look exactly like this. However, if you do it and you shoot on black first, you can actually get a lot more details from the shadows on that single exposure. If you were to do it in white, you might have to take exposures for the reflection and then for the object itself. Some companies will ask you to do that. Some companies don't care. Some companies want no reflection or just very minimal. Either way, you can still use it, take it on black. If you're strapped for time, take it on black, and it just works really well. So same thing with the X-T3. There it is on black. And it's the same thing, just you invert the background, you have the background, you invert it, and then you use a different gradient. And there it is. And it's up to you. It's up to the company that's publishing your stuff. But I found it works out really well that way. It could be that other photographers have different ways to do it. But this is just something I've used for the last here and there for the last 6, 7, 8 years, whatever. 2014 is when I really started. So 6 years, yeah. And then finally, the last image I want to do is this. Basically, I took, oh, right. You know what? Just a second here. I wanted to show you guys something here. See if there's any questions here. Hey, Victor, good to know. Yeah, Victor. Yeah. Just remember, Victor, I know that you've got questions perhaps about the back as well as the technical camera. Why don't you write them down or put them in the chat now, and later on we'll just answer them, all right? Because I want to make sure that if you have any questions that I can answer, that I'm able to answer them for you. Because I would hate for like the end of this live stream to come and I haven't answered any of your questions. Big Head Filer, dude. Oh, by the way, guys, Big Head Filer. Just a moment. Trying to remember your name. We met. This dude is he's a professional photographer and reviewer, headphone guy. Really great stuff. He's done RHA and several other big brands. He's done some amazing work in the audio world. I haven't seen your stuff outside of that. Great photographer, based in Korea. Got to go and visit your studio sometime. We'd love to see you. Haven't been able to see you for a while. Good guy. Good website. Put your link in the description if you want, man. Anyway, good to see you here. Let's see here. I want to go. So this plug here. Oh wait, I want to show a video. Sorry about this, guys. All right, so we're gonna stop the camera from Lightroom. Let's remove that, and we are going to add. Let's see if I can do this. We're gonna see if I can do this, guys. I want to just show you the basic camera setup I had for this plug thing. It's not necessarily that exciting, but let's see here. All right, now I want to do the volume down because I think basically you're going to hear me grunting a lot. And maybe the volume should go all the way down. Let's see here. We go back to sound or StreamYard. My pleasure. Yeah, very exciting new macro lens from Victor. Man, now you're telling me about. I got to check out a website. Tell me the website. Everyone put your links in the description, man. I want to follow the stuff up as well. All right, so I'm going to go in. I got to add. No, stop screen, share screen. I got to tell everyone what's going on. Application window, video. Is this it? 5D2. Okay, so let's see if we can. Victor or oh man, Big Head Filer. What's your name again, man? I'm sorry, it's been a very long time. I don't remember your name. What's your name? Tell me your name so I can instead of calling you Big Head Filer the whole time. If you want, I'll just call you My Pleasure. It's easier than saying Big Head Filer. I'll just call you my pleasure for right now. I'm sorry that I forgot it. I hope you forgot my name as well. If not, my apologies. All right. Anyway, I just want to show you the setup very quickly. Let's see if this video runs. Go here, QuickTime Player. Hit play. So basically, oh, let's pause it. Wait, how do you pause? Okay, so this is a 5-pole balance plug for Sony DAPs as well as DACs and amplifiers. From what's the company? Got to get back to them. Haven't done that. Probably in trouble. Probably really in trouble. What's the name of the company? Anyway, they make DAPs. It's a really nice adapter for for balanced 2.5 TRSS. Anyway, it's an adapter. Anyway, so I'm just showing you here. Basically, the setup. Hopefully, can you guys still hear me? I hope you can hear me. Drake, go. There we are. All right, cool. All right, boom. All right, Drake. Oh, by the way, Drake, can you hear me? Victor, can you hear me? Cheers. Hopefully you can hear me. We had a little bit of trouble, Drake, before you came in. 5 minutes, evidently, of no sound, and I was doing stuff, and Victor ended up staying, so that was cool. All right, I'm not hearing any. No one's saying, dude, we can hear you. So I'm just gonna go and hope, and then later on probably regret. All right, so let's go back to the video. So basically, this is the plug. I'm just showing off. I took this with my iPhone. It's going to show you the setup very quickly. So we're going to go around back to the studio. Let's go back here just a second. So you can see the way I took this was I took this tracing paper, just wrapped around the plug. The reason I took the tracing paper. Oh, by the way, to the left of that, you can see a shiny bit of plastic. That's the thing I used to get the the reflection back in the lens. It's a thing I use often. A lot of people, I've used up to 4 lights at one time, but I found over the years that I actually like to use reflectors really well placed, mainly because the way that they shoot light in can sometimes be, you can soften it a little bit easier, and you can also direct it easier. One of these lights, this is just a, what is it, a Godo or Godox, or however you say it, AD400, and they're not huge, but if you have to move around a whole bunch of lights, it can be easier to use a reflector and just take either an under or overexposure and add that in, rather than using the lights and getting the room super hot and maybe burning out a bulb, as well as the fact that reflectors are just, I like the way that they reflect. I like the way that they control light better than using a whole bunch of lights. So this was just a single light image. As you can see, the AD4 is just right there underneath the object. I'm just gonna check to see you. Okay, dude, we can hear you. Sweet. All right, cool. Moonshine graffiti. All right, here we go. So it's going in there. There's a plug, and we're just gonna, oh, and anyway, the tracing, wait, how do I stop this? I wanted to explain. The tracing paper, basically, the light is coming from down there underneath the object. It's going up through 2 pieces of styrene. Pardon me just a moment. 2 pieces of styrene. Then it's going up, and it's, had this been a commercial shot, I would have shaped the lighting paper differently with some string, etc. But it's just flat. It should have gone around, but the light is going to go around the object using the paper, and then it's going to basically reflect through the paper and around it and give it a nice soft fall off. And then on the side, that hard plastic edge is going to give it something there. If this were commercial, I would have shot it completely different. However, it's one way you can do things to soften the light going through. Anyway, here we are. Going in, just showing you the plug. Zooming back out. Now the camera here, this is the Ball Pro 2, and it's the 5D2. This is a 20 megapixel camera. The lens here, you can see hopefully with the mouse, is the 120 millimeter f5.6 APO macro digitar from Schneider. A sharper macro lens does not exist. Fujifilm eat your heart out. This thing can also cover 4.5 without any shifts. Now this Ball Pro, like I said, it's the first medium format technical camera I ever purchased. I had a 4x5 before that, and right after this, I got an Wait, was it after this? I think it was after this. I got Exact 2 from Rolei, and Rolei, the Rolei accessories in general, as well as the accessories for the Ball Pro 2, are compatible. The only difference is if you're using the super wide angle leather bellows, it doesn't work on this camera, but most of the lens boards and everything works really well. Apparently Alpa, we're going to use the same mount and all that on a camera called the Serpent. I haven't heard anything from them, and I can imagine if they made it, it would be 4,000. This camera is, I think, the Ball Pro with tilt shift, I think, is 700 to 1,000. I can't remember exactly. I bought it in 2014 after I borrowed it for the review at Fuji Rumors, ended up using it on a commercial shoot, and then I bought it. Just love it. Focus is really good. It's not, there's a couple problems with it. Anyway, right, so that's a setup showing the lens of the Schneider. Very good lens. I haven't used, as you notice, I don't have a hood. I don't have any sort of light blockage on it. For a commercial shoot, I would have used a thin, like, extension tube screwed into the front, and that would have kept any stray light going out into it. It's a Leinhof version, by the way. Leinhof Select. I don't know if it's any better than the normal one. Very, very good lens. So we're going to look at the back of the 5D2 here. Oh, but that's just the wireless sync thing. Man, this is... All right, going back to the other side here. There's my C-stands going down. Trying to get a view of the subject, but can't really find it. What's this? The bottom of the... Nah, we got to look there. It's the setting is 1/32 power. Going back here. Doors open. Should have shut that. You never know what light's going to come in. Okay, now we're just going to mount the camera. You've seen this thing, by the way. I have it here. This is how we did it. Just this. Let's make sure we can all see this stuff. All right. This here is a, what is it called? Quad lock. You put your, I have a quad lock case for my phone. It's just like a camera. You just screw it right in, or you just like that. So that's like, I just took the video with my camera and then did like that and zoomed it way out, and it works. Seems to work all right. It's not terribly solid. I wish I would have used the NovaFlex one, but I don't actually have. I'm missing one adapter. So here we are. All right, let's go back to the video. This is exciting stuff, guys. All right. So interesting, by the way, the 5D2 shows f11 here. There's no, it doesn't have any direct connection to the lens itself. It's just a dumb, it's bellows. There's no connection, but I was in f11, sorry. And I shot it. There's the image. I just took it there just to show you one. I didn't properly focus. I just want to show you just the setup and then the shoot. It's just like that. I put it on a 2-second timer because I don't have a remote control for the 5D at the moment, just so you don't get any vibration in it. And then what else? I'm just showing the focus action here. Sorry about this. The focus action. This is actually important. If you are thinking about using a mirrorless camera, most of them should be okay. I'm finding here the Canon, sorry, it's a little bit jumpy here. This Canon is from 2008, but it, even in the dark, it keeps up a really good frames per second ratio to the amount of like information that comes back to the screen. This is really important for focusing. With the GFX, in the same light, at this, around this magnification, it would probably be around 15 frames per second. If you go any farther, it would suddenly be around 5 or 2. And at that point, you can't tell what's camera shake, what's and what's the thing actually being in focus. So the 5D2 from 2008 is a way better for this sort of photography in terms of handling the speed of image update that you need for this sort of thing. Now, if you're using a digital back, I was using Hasselblad CFV 50 and 50C. The 50C is the same sensor that's in the GFX 50S, and that camera you plug. I just spilled beer all over myself. Good on me. That was smart. Got a towel. Yeah, this is gonna go down. Oh, on my mini disc stuff. Oh man, don't tell my wife. Don't tell my wife. All right. So I'm just gonna wipe stuff here while I'm talking. This is going good, man. It's good. It's good. All right. With the Linhof stuff, or with the Hasselblad stuff, what's going to happen is you have to plug it into your. You can use the back of the camera with something like a CFV 50C. With the 50, just the regular 50, there's no way to do that. I'm just going to keep chatting while I wipe up the floor. Man, what an idiot! Good thing I got legs. Do with my leg. I have to mop this thing later on. That was bad. All right. With the 50, the regular 50, not the 50C, there's no CMOS live update on it. So you have to plug it into your computer to get any sort of like large screen update. Or you can use a sliding adapter or use it on something like, and I also use this with the Fujifilm GX680, but you're using it like a DSLR essentially. But with the 50S, you plug it in and you get live view, and it is awful. I think 5 frames per second is about as good as I ever got in this room. And the regular 50 using the same software is probably half of that. So I found it just worthless. And I always used like you would put the back here and then you'd use a loop and then you slide it back. And I used that. And they weren't quite as accurate, but you give yourself about a millimeter of leeway and it's perfectly fine. So that's just to say that. If you get a newer sensor with a better processor, it might update just fine, but oh man, that's looks like there's some stuff over here. I'm just going to wipe down here, but something like a phase 1 or even one of the newer Leafs might work really well. That was good. I'm glad I had a towel here. Didn't even have to get up. Didn't have to stop the live stream. It smells in here a little bit like beer. Let's turn off this window here. Go back to there we are. We can hear you. I can hear. Good. All right. Now, next thing we're going to do, no claps. Thank you very much. Good. We are going to add another screen here. We're going to get, the next video is, I just want to show the X-T3 doing the same thing, just so you can see it back to back. And before we do this, let's see here. Application window. There we are. turn down the volume because you don't need to hear this stuff. Okay, so just check here. Okay, good. So I'm just putting in the card slot. And I'm just mounting the camera onto the Ball Pro. Everything else is in place. Turn on the camera. And I believe I've already set up the settings here. So as you can, if you really zoom in, you can see that it's shutter speed of 1/125. So it's well within the limits of both the 5D2, which I think is 1/200, as well as the X-T3, which is 1/250 for flash sync speed. And now all I'm going to do is basically show you how I'm going to put things in focus. Oh, don't want to forget the wireless trigger. If you forget your wireless trigger, or you don't have your flash wired plugged in, you're not going to be able to get. One thing you can't really tell from here, I'll do this eventually before I sell the X-T3. One thing that's real shame about every single Fujifilm camera since the beginning is when you want to check focus on the back or tethered, at least the last time I used tethered was this way. If you want to move down a screen or up a screen or to the side to check on the side if you got that thing in focus, it moves an entire screen over. So for instance, if it's showing just like here to the eye, when you move it over, it then moves all the way over here. There's no incremental movement. So it always moves to the extreme. So if you want to check something here, it's never possible to properly check it. And they've never fixed this. So there's another thing, the GFX, great image quality, but in the field, when you're trying to do macro with it, it's the worst of every single digital camera I've ever used. Anyway, and the X-T3 is same thing. It stinks like beer in here. So anyway, I'm just checking the focus here. Of course, the focus will be a wheel just right under the bellows. I was just checking the lens there to make sure I have it at the same f-stop, because I think the taking f-stop here is f11, but I wanted to show you, I put it down to f22 or f16 just to see how slow it would update on the at full extension here, or not full extension, but basically at darker than taking apertures, because the camera has to update fast in order to get really good focus. Otherwise, you can miss focus. And I found that 5D2 updates just a little bit better than the X-T3. X-T3 does good. It's much better than GFX, but it slows down certainly beyond so beyond 100% magnification. It definitely slows down. So this is just showing you the image it takes. And that should be the end of this video. Now, let's go look at the plug, I believe, in Lightroom. All right. All right. Moonshine, dude, we can hear you. Great. Yeah. What you clapping for, Moonshine? Was it the beer spill? That was good. All right. Let's go get Lightroom back up. Wait. How do I stop screen? There we are. All right, bad boys and bad girls. Application window. Let's go to Lightroom. Let's go to the plugs. All right. So here we're going to actually see some real difference between the two cameras. In this case, all I did was take it in front of a completely light absorbing like bit of material. As you saw the light set up already. There's just a bit of tracing paper around it to get light back in. I wasn't doing anything fancy. I just wanted, a good, I don't know, accentuation here. I didn't really think about the side that much. I just wanted general high quality light. I don't like hard like blacks here. I really don't like that. This is the X-T3 image, by the way. So let's just zoom in here. Pretty sharp, looks good. This is all, again, a stacked image from Helicon Focus. I think it's 4 or 5 images. So everything should be roughly in focus. I didn't find any problems with the background, so there was nothing to fix in terms of softness on the other side. And that happens a lot when you have, when you focused everything correctly and there isn't like a soft background. I found that Helicon Focus nails things. Zareen Stacker does a little bit better. Otherwise, however, there's some artifacts with sharpness, as well as what's the other one? Seraph's photo or Affinity Photo, or whatever it's called, also has artifacts. Now, that is me. That's my face right there, or my shirt. Normally, I was thinking I was wearing the same Defender clam shirt when you're taking a photograph in a studio of an item, you don't wear reflective clothing. You wear black clothing. This is just for a YouTube video, so I wasn't worried about that. That is also probably me. So don't wear a yellow shirt. If you're going to wear any color, navy. But don't even wear navy. You got to wear black. Make it sure it's black. Not even gray. It's got to be black clothes when you're doing something like this. All right? All right. Now the 5D2. Just go in quickly here. Obviously, there's a slight, as you can tell. Just a second here. All right, good. We can see. There's a slight slight framing difference here. The plug is a little bit more to the right in the 5D2 image, a little bit more to the left in the X-T2. It's also closer in X-T3, sorry. I wasn't able to perfectly nail the two. I think I might have bumped something. I did bump something when between shots, so I wasn't able to nail it. So that's it. All right, so 5D2, let's go in here, see if we can still see Nathan. Yeah, Nathan's still there. We will connect these back to back. Now, you'll notice there's some swirlies here, and that's because I only took 4 images or 5 images. I'm basically at, for the 5D2, I'm basically at 1-to-1 magnification. So this is a full macro, or very close to full macro. And at that distance, I probably should have taken some more images. This sort of thing happens when you have slightly misfocused images in a stack. Usually for this sort of thing, I would use a remote control and take like 30 images, and just there would be nothing like this. But I wasn't. This is just for a YouTube video. But yeah, plenty of detail, really good detail in here. We'll connect these. We'll compare these back to back in just a second. Yeah, overall, really good. You can see little blemishes here, probably scrapes, etc. Very well. Problems with the paint, very good. The definition for the side is, excellent. Now, next to the, let's go back to back in order to make sure this is the same as what we did before. To the left is the 5D3. We're just doing compare back and back. And to the right is the X-T3. Well, where are we? Let's go back here. All right, so we got a problem here with the framing. We're just going to have a little bit of problems here because the 5D2 and the X-T3, shoot, we can't go perfectly in. Also, these aren't resized this time, so the extra 6 megapixels from the X-T3 will show up, plus the framing difference. Let's see, not good. But at the same time, I'm just seeing, and even when I used the same lenses, I noticed that this is the thing. APS-C, there's no anti-aliasing filter on the X-T3, but it's just not as sharp as the full frame. There's not as much definition at low ISO. It's just, and this full frame, it's from 2008, and we're comparing a camera 10 years later. I'm not seeing any benefit to the X-T3. Yes, I could have used X-Transformer, but again, I didn't see any differences or benefits between X-Transformer and enhanced tail for this photography with the X-Trans sensors. Like these lines, very good definition for X-Trans. I've never seen real better for this. But again, the full frame, just the definition, it's fewer megapixels. It's actually farther away, not zoomed in quite as much, if I'm seeing this correctly. Yeah, but there's better definition. Yeah, I just haven't, I don't know. Wait, where's the X-T3? There it is. It's just, how do I put it, man? APS-C, you can get very good images from it, but I'm finding that once you put it under studio lights, you do macro, etc., it's never as good as full frame. It's just never as good. And this is 20 megapixel, again, from 12 years ago, and X-T3 is from 2 years ago. So, I don't know. Now, where it does do better, and let's go back here. Wait, that's not it. Did I do it right? Yeah, here we are. Okay, here's where we're going to see the X-T3 just destroy the 5D2, and that is, let's make sure that we, all right, I'm going to develop here. Watch this. We're going to bring up the blacks. So far, no problem that I can tell from this distance, but we zoom in to the 5D2. Still no problems. We've got blacks and shadows up at 100 each. Maybe a hot pixel here or there. Let's get the exposure up. Oh, this is the X-T3, sorry. That's why. I was like, well, Suddenly 5D2 is really, really good for this sort of thing. X-T3, look at that. We have exposure up 4.65. Let's go all the way. 5, and there's no banding. There's nothing in there. A beautiful quality CMOS sensor. Obviously, you could never use an image like this. You would never want to do that to your image. But see, I wonder if you could even... Yeah, you can't really get anything useful out of that. However, so that's back to normal, just like that. But with the 5D2, let's bring up the shadows and the blacks and zoom in. And if I'm not sure this is showing up on YouTube, but there's definitely some vertical striations, which are some sort of banding. And if we bring up the exposure, just watch what happens. It's just all over the place. It looks like a kilt with a big blue smudge here, actually. So the 5D2, this is where the sensor really shows that it is not up to snuff. That said, if you're using it at base ISO, you're getting way more detail. I say way more, yeah, from a 20 megapixel sensor over a 26 megapixel sensor. And the JPEGs, good detail. The RAWs, better detail. Fewer megapixels, older camera. But once you go to higher ISOs, definitely, look at that. You got the Scottish quilt pattern going on here, which looks good on a quilt, but does not look good on a sensor like this. The SL had a bit of banding way up high, but nothing like this. The 5D4, I find, doesn't have this sort of banding and is much better than X-T3 for this sort of like extreme pushing. But the 5D2, this is where it starts, it really shows its stuff. And if you're doing people photography and you do in really harsh light where you got a lot of blacks, and you do ISO 3200, sometimes you can see banding. 6400, sometimes you can see it. But it will definitely show up in places the X-T3 sensors will never show it. So there definitely are benefits to the X-T3 APS-C over the full frame. It's just that it's not for where you're using controlled lighting and you're using good lighting and you're using the camera at base or close to base ISO. And again, the 5D2 was used at ISO 200. I don't know what pixel to pixel, photons to pixels or whatever shows the 5D2 at. I don't know if there's if that was really unfair to the 5D2 or not. I used that because I didn't want to use 160 on it because that's not like it's not a normal one for it. And the X-T3 has, I don't know, whatever. I chose 200 because it seemed the most compatible between the cameras. So it could be that it's a disadvantage to both cameras, but either way, the 5D2 destroys it at ISO 200 for detail, pixel quality, and sharpness. But once you bump things up, you can't do anything. You got to shoot exactly at that ISO. Otherwise, that's it. And that, ladies and gents, is my presentation for today. I think the beer, the spill in the beer bit probably, well, it's going to get me in trouble later on because it's going to stink. It does stink. I think that's the most exciting bit. But if you guys got any questions, please tell me. We're going to turn off the sharing screen thing. We're just going to go. It's going to be you and me, just personal, all personal. So if you got any questions, please ask. I do see a hand there from Moonshine. No, it's not a hand. Moonshine. Wait. I'm trying to remember. Moonshine, is that you, Martin? Nah, Moonshine Graffiti. I know you. Why do I always forget? It's not because I had too much to drink. It was just a little bit to drink today. But Moonshine, it's good to see you again. Can't remember who you are. Why do I forget? Victor, should I get a pre-owned Canon 5D Mark II? Victor, I've got a question for you. What are you going to use it for? Now get back to me. I'm going to take a sip of the beer that I have. Nope. Moonshine. Who are you? Shoot. I know that I should know this right off the bat. If you guys have ever watched like those like actually popular live streamers and they get like thousands of people watching, they're like, oh, it's good to see you again, Blow Dog, and it's good to see you again, Victor Orban or whatever. And, you know, they know, obviously I'm not, I got 4 people watching, so it's a little bit different. But let's see here. Oh, I just missed something here. Victor also said here, I'm doing research of surface wet stability and need to capture the apparent contact angle of standing droplets. Okay, so I understand the word I am doing research surface. I don't, and capture, understand that. Apparent, contact angle. I understand all the words. I don't understand the meaning. This is either something very scientific or for macro. Yeah, for macro, yeah, the 5D2 is great. Again, the only thing that you can't do with it is you can't push the shadows and the blacks, and you cannot push exposure at the same time really high. But if you're doing it something like, I would say anything up to, say, ISO 1600, you're not going to get any banding, and you're going to get very good quality detail from basically any setting from the 5D2. A year ago, I didn't use it as much as I wanted to, but I picked up the 80D because I wanted something that was a little bit simpler than an XH1 for taking videos for YouTube and stuff like that. And it was much simpler. I found out the autofocus just blew the XH1 away. And then you could like click on things on the screen and it just focused really well. And that was my first Canon. I've never been a Canon guy. This year I picked up a 5D2 because there was one with a box in really good shape, which is the one you see here, for a very good price. And after using it for just a little bit, I found that the image quality is incredible. And again, you know, if you're using it for, if you will not be able to use this thing for tracking. You're not going to, you can if it's right in the center. It does a very good job, in fact. And with their USM lenses, focus is fast and steady. And if you're using an STM lens, it's always sharp, exactly like a mirrorless camera. It's always right on, spot on. But with a USM lens, there's going to be a little bit of a differentiation between what you think is in focus and what's actually in focus. And then you can only really focus reliably right in the center. But the camera is really high quality. The battery lasts pretty well in mirror up mode. It's a little more complicated than like a 5D4 to use in mirror up mode, but this is one of the first Canons that really focused on that sort of functionality. So what you turn it on here. I don't know if I have a, I don't know if I do have a card in there. And you turn it on here like that, and then it'll, yeah, I'm not sure you can see. Yeah, that's me. And if you want to go to video, you hit that button for some reason. It's a bad interface. But if you want to take a photograph, you just hit the shutter button. And the shutter does have quite a bit of shock. However, if you can use a trigger or do like a 2-second delay or a 10-second delay, as you saw, now I don't know if it came through very well in the video, but as I hope it demonstrated, the image quality is incredible from it. Yes, it's only 21 or 20 megapixels, but I mentioned this earlier that I had a 15 megapixel image that was blown up 2.5 meters by like 1.5 or 2 meters, something like that. And the manufacturer was very happy about it. It was used on a huge poster. So it depends on how you expand it. The image quality, again, it's going to beat out any APS-C. Probably, I would imagine that 5D2 in best condition is going to beat out your 6D Mark II, or sorry, EOS 6 Mark II in terms of base image quality at a per pixel level in the best light. Absolutely, for macro, it's incredible. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? It stinks in here. Really wonder what happened to the audio, by the way, when I was doing that 5 minutes of darkness or whatever. I'm really sorry about that, Victor. But if you got any other questions, please ask right now. I'm going to finish this beer and then we're going to be done. Any questions about backs? Any questions about your technical cameras? Anything like that? I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm just going to check my. I did link this in Telegram, but I don't think anyone's coming from Telegram. They're like, come on, man, we want to talk about politics. Why would you link something like? Why would you link something like this in a politics channel? That's stupid. Why would you even talk about politics? Also stupid. Victor, nothing. Moonshine. Oh man, why can't I remember? This is so bad. It's not because I spilled the beer. It could be because I spilled the beer. Yeah. Any other things here? Just to kind of show you guys what I spilled on, by the way. I spilled on a Panasonic SJ-MJ10 or SJ-MJ10. Yeah. BSG. Dude! These balls! That's right. Have you ever been here before? No. Why are you here? Dave, this is Moonshine Graffiti. This guy's name is Dave Balls, or D's Balls. That's his name. This guy and me, we go back just 4 years or so. Met him at church. I'm not going to mention the first thing he asked me. It's a funny thing, but we're going through Battlestar Galactica from 2003. Hopefully we'll be able to finish it soon. We're on series 3. Great series. Dave, it's good to see you. Did I just dox you? I hope I didn't dox you there. But good guy. We live in the same city. Haven't seen him for yonks because of the old quarantine thing. Or was it? We saw each other a little bit. Could because we've actually. This is amazing here, Victor. I've actually argued with a man called Dave, or D's Balls. Sorry, don't want to dox him. I've argued with a guy called Dave. D's Balls over a mouse. I'll show you the mouse. We were doing like a gaming night over internet before, and he's like, dude, did you get your mouse yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. And he's like, come on, man, you're not gonna be able to do the mouse thing. You're not gonna be able to play the game. And I'm gonna be like, I'll borrow a mouse. He's like, you gotta have a mouse. I'm like, well, I haven't bought one yet. He's like, why haven't you bought one yet? And I'm like, I'm looking for the right one to show up on Yahoo Auction. He's like, Yahoo Auction? There's new ones everywhere. And it's like, I'm not gonna pay a company money. Maybe I said it wrong. Maybe he and I are just Battlestar Galactica friends. Maybe we're not like friends when it comes to spending our money. But we had online on Facebook, we had like a back and forth, probably for about an hour and a half. I bet you his wife was like, honey, just eat. And he's like, no, I gotta defeat this guy on the internet. And she's like, who is it? He's like, I can't tell you because we're always fighting. And she's like, oh, those guys are fighting again. And I was probably on my sofa. It's like, freaking no, I'm not going to buy a brand new mouse when I can find it. And he's like, but what if you get you get a used mouse, and what happens is it's from some guy who's, watched something on his computer and it's all dirty in certain ways. And I'm like, that is a thing, but I'll clean it. Anyway, I've argued with Dave's a good guy, good friend of mine, with whom I argue quite a bit. We also argued about Smash Brothers, playing Smash Brothers, and some other stuff like that. Anyway, yeah. We spend our time a little bit differently, he and I. Good to see you. Victor, you got no more problems? I'm going to finish my beer, and then I guess we're done then. Anything else I spilled the beer on? Also spilled on this mini player here. They're just straight in here. As well as this. Fortunately, this one's dead already, so don't got to worry about that. And I didn't spill on any stuff that isn't mine. Oh, that's still wet. I'll wipe that off. Oh, that's what she said. All right. Also spilled a little bit here on the Onkyo DPS. Ooh, back of that thing is wet. That's what he said. Wipe it here. All right. I'll make sure it's DPS1, very good DPA or DAP. Have reviewed it on this channel. It was for a long time my reference for audio, for portable audio. Okay, good. No problems here. The beer hasn't ingressed beyond the back of the case. I'm a little bit worried here. Hopefully I didn't get any high MD stuff. I'm still trying to fight with Martin. Martin's not here, by the way. I'm just going to clean my drawer here. All right, Victor, I guess you got no more questions, man. Dave's got no questions. He's just doing BSD. All right. Finish my beer. This is the way to go out, man. This is the way to. If any of you guys want a tip on how to end a live stream, spill a beer. Spill a beer earlier in the live stream and then talk about it later on. Pretending that everyone is just really desperate to ask you a question, but you're like, I've got to tell you about the spilled beer. Well, Victor, he says thanks, Ray. I guess there's nothing else to answer here. Like I said, the only backs I really used were the Hasselblad C FV50 and 50C, Bellows for macro. Yeah, Bellows for macro. Okay, for macro, what you're going to want, please answer me as soon as you hear this. Are you going to be doing any tilting or shifting, or are you going to be doing straight extension for macro? Because it makes a big difference. A big difference, actually. I just went to my phone screen and did not find the chat. That's what it was. Okay, but you're on a computer now, so that's fine. Or something like that, because I'm getting some good feedback from you here. But I will I will repeat the question again. Are you going to be using it just for macro, or do you need some forward tilt or some sideways shift? You need anything like that? You know what? Pardon me, some. I'm just going to go get the Ball Pro just a second. All right, so this is the first, like I said, this is the first medium format bellows camera or technical camera I ever purchased. I had a 4x5 before that, and I've had a whole bunch since then. This one, making bellows microscopic. The good thing about this one is it's really solid if you're just doing extension, extremely solid. Look at that optical bench there. That thing is over a centimeter thick, and it's really high quality metal. The focus tooth on the Ball Pro is really good. There is one problem with it, and that is while it's really perfectly greased so that you can get very small focus increments, I found that if you have a camera on the back, there's a slight amount of slide. Of course, you can lock it down so it doesn't move at all. And if you're using a remote control focus system like I have over there, which you can't see because of this. Well, you can't really see it anyway. If you have something like that, then that sort of thing doesn't really matter because you're focusing externally to that. However, I found that this thing overall is about as good as it gets for just focus precision. The problem with it is it's only like 20 centimeters long. Oh wait, it says right here, 10. Yeah, it's about 20 centimeters long. So if you're using longer lenses, like let's say over 80 millimeters, I think with this camera, with using something like a 5D2, because you're going to get the extra extension to go into the body there of around 5 centimeters or so. If you're using a body like the 5D2 or 5D4 or whatever, you're going to get an extra 25 centimeters overall, which would take you on beyond what the exact 2 does, and will take you about 5 centimeters shorter than the long extension bellows from a Cambo Actis for GFX. You can get, and I haven't done it, and I probably will do this, you can get an extension here from Novaflex that does 5 centimeters that you put in the back or the front. These are really, the mount is just incredibly simple. You unscrew there, pop it out. This is your lens board. This is a recessed lens board, so obviously I'm losing an extra like 3 centimeters or 2.5 centimeters here, but you can get flat ones. You pop it in there. What's great is the lens can rotate, so if you're working on the right side or the left side, you can immediately see your f-stops on your lens. Am I doing a good job showing here? So there's f-stops on this camera or this lens here. 5.6. But if you're on the other side, you're like, I can't see it and I don't want to look over this that way. You just unscrew it, rotate it, and now you got it on the other side. Amazing. You can do that on the top and the bottom as well. So you can basically work anywhere, under, over, across, anything with this camera. Incredible. Now with tilts and shifts, this camera is very limited. When I showed you that image early on, maybe when the audio was coming through or not, that I did for the Fuji Rumors review, I showed it with an L bracket here. If you use it with an L bracket, then you can put the camera like this. And the mounts that it had, that Novaflex have, are very solid, so that you can do vertical shift as well as, but the thing is, if you want to do vertical shift, you have to mount the Ball Pro like this. Otherwise, you only have, if you watch, you only have horizontal shifts. I'll do a review of this camera later on. It's the one I've had for the longest. And obviously it still works really well after 6 years. Yeah, but it shows, I'm not sure you can see that well. It shows the markings for absolute center. And that's really good. I think the shift is high quality. It goes 11 millimeters. The tilt is not high quality. It gives you, I can't remember the degrees. It's something like 20 degrees or 15, which is enough. I found that's plenty for medium format. But there's no markings. It's just you're centered right there. That's it. And it's not on, wait, can you see that? It's not on teeth. So there's just a line up marking right there. So if you're doing tilt, it's not that accurate. You can line it back up by sight. You'd be like, okay, that's probably roughly, hopefully accurate. And then you lock it in like that. And it's not going to, actually that shifted a little bit. Yeah, I wish it was on teeth. So that's a problem with this one. If you get the regular, the one that doesn't have tilt shift, so just the Ball Pro, there's no shifting or tilting. So it's absolutely stable. But even this one, in terms of like the amount of compression that the body does, it's very minimal. It's probably one of the more solid bodies. For this size, probably the solidest body I've seen. And then on the back, you can do tilts or swings, or I can't remember what they're called, this way. And it actually shows, right down here, there's a marker to show how many degrees it's tilted. I think up to 7 degrees either way, which is cool. And then you lock it back with this lever, which is nice. And then this one, the back one, is actually, you can actually shift on teeth. I wish they had that on the front. They don't. They just have kind of a, I don't know why they don't. Wait, do they? Oh, they do. Same thing. Sorry, I got confused. I was just thinking of the tilt. Anyway, it's a really great camera. It's just that if you want to do vertical stuff versus horizontal, you got to remount it. Now, there's one thing, and I don't have it with me right here. When I do the review of it, I'll show you. There's an adapter for it that you can put on the back or the front. And that thing will then shift this way. Or if you rotate it, will shift this way. The problem is, if you put it here, because this body like basically sticks out, it's going to bump in this way. So if you get an extension that comes out 5 centimeters, then you can move it this way, and the body, you'll see when I do the review, the body will then go down or up, no problem. You can change it. So you can do all your vertical and horizontal shifts without remounting the body. The only thing is you can't do your tilts. So I'm probably going to pick up 2 of those to put on the front just for a little more extension, and one for the back, so I can have that sort of extra, what is it called? Slideability or whatever. So I'm going to pick that up hopefully when I do the review of this eventually. I've really enjoyed the Ball Pro. The camera that I was most impressed with in terms of just overall functionality was the Leanhof M679CS. Now it's the most expensive by far. I got it at a pretty good deal, but and the thing is, with all of these things, if you buy them brand new, you're going to lose most of that money. And I didn't get that one brand new. I got this one brand new. But all these cameras, the Leanhof I got, I can't remember how much it cost. It was a lot of money. There was like $3,000, let's say. But brand new price is $10,000. And that camera, you could do from a single body. It was super duper modular. From the same body, you could basically use a 23 millimeter lens on a digital back, and you can't on the Ball Pro. So you can go super wide, and you can also extend way out with all your extension tubes, etc. But it's 4.5 kilograms, so you need to have a super heavy duty camera stand or some other support that's going to make sure that nothing moves. And it has also an integrated tilting bench, which is cool. The thing is, you're probably going to use it on a tripod or something else anyway, so you don't need that, and it's added weight. With the Ball Pro and the Cambo and all that, you basically use your tripod or whatever for all that stuff. Anyway, really cool stuff. If you're using fungies, bacteria colonies, how close are you trying to get in? What sort of lenses are you looking for? You're definitely not doing 1 times. You're doing like at least 5 times magnification, aren't you? For 5 times magnification, a lens like this is really good, by the way. You do have to get external lighting, etc. But it will definitely outperform those Canon MPE lenses like the 35 and the 65. Definitely outperform them. And it's f2.8, so you magnify that by 5 times or 6 times plus the f-stop. And you're if you're using like a 5.6 macro lens, doesn't matter how sharp it is, you're looking at like effective focal f-stop of like 30 or 40 at that magnification. But if you're using something like this, you're probably looking at effective like 15 to 20. So that's a lot better. definitely try to use a macro that's like f2.8. Also, you know this already probably. A lot of macro lenses that also work at infinity. A lot of those, for some reason, I don't know what the difference is, you use on your SLR or your mirrorless. They're better stopped down, but a macro lens like this or like this, basically use them wide open for best sharpness if you're doing stacking. I mean, obviously, if you're doing super macro and you take a single exposure with a f80 lens or 80 millimeter lens, you're not going to get much in focus. So you need to stack. And same thing with something like this. So, but you shoot wide open or very close to wide open. You can also go to, what's the website? It's an amazing website that has lots of information about that from a guy who knows how to explain all that. You know what? I'll find it when I do my review of all this stuff later on. I'll make sure it's there. Any more questions there, Victor? I hope that was helpful. Ball Pro comes with my full recommendation. Is basically what I'm saying. You can, if you get the right extension, you can do 5 plus. So that's 20 plus 5. You can do 30 centimeters of extension, which with like a 20 millimeter or 30 millimeter lens will get you probably around almost up to 20 times, depending extension or magnification, depending. And it'll be super stable for that, and it's light enough. I think it's just about 1 kilogram, so it's not going to overtax any sort of lighting system, or sorry, stands system, anything like that. So it's really good. And you can twist the lens. Being able to twist the lens for any side that you are actually standing to or from the camera is valuable, absolutely valuable. So that's it. Yeah, bacterial colors, because you're gonna get in close. You're gonna have to do a lot of stacking. You're also gonna probably want to get. I haven't done a review of it. It's a stack shot, something like that. Stack shot is what I use. Stack shot 3x. I think 3x it'll give you 30. I think it's 30 centimeters. So if you were to do like, and it'll focus down to I think like 2 to 5 microns. So if you were to do, I don't know the maths. A micron is like a millionth of a meter or something like that, or 100th of a millimeter. So if you were to do the entire extension, you could do like 30,000 exposures on a single rail and make sure you could get every little hair of anything in focus, even with a 20 megapixel camera. However, you wouldn't get a computer that would ever be able to focus that in your life, in terms of getting it all to work in Helicon focus and then stacked and compressed and all that. But anyway, yeah, that's there it is. Oh yeah, got it. Someone's commented about my headphones. Yeah, these are the Ultrasona ED8s. Came out in like 2007 or 8, 9, something like that. Really great headphones. I was actually going to sell it for the new Audio Technica wood ones. I found that these things don't have much value anymore. Not going to do that. And they're great. They isolate really well. They fit really well. They're comfortable. Even with I haven't done the video yet, but I'm going to be doing a special video later on. Don't want to give it away in case some of you guys are sniping out there. There's only 4 people watching. No one's sniping this. But they fit really well around glasses of any type, with hats on. Yeah, it's great. Well, by the way, speaking of hats, before we get too far, I do want to introduce... I've had it for a while, just haven't really advertised it much. I do have a shop now. If you want to support this channel, you can do the old thing where I say, you buy a hat direct from me and I send it out to you. Still do that, $20. Hand-drawn by me, comes with a little receipt, a little thank you note, etc. All done by me, basically, locally sourced from parts abroad. Or you can go, let's see if I can find, ow, see my elbow. See if I can go to, what is it? I just go to my channel. I gotta figure out how to do this. I'm gonna go to my channel, go to a video quickly. I'm gonna find the link here. Let's see here. That's not it. Oh, I can go to this video right here. Whoa. Stop. Wow, it's live. And then let's see, where is it? Twitter. No. Spreadshirt. I got a Spreadshirt account. I have, is it actually linked? Oh. What? I didn't link it properly. Just a moment, guys. Hey, I'm good. I'm good. We all good. No, that's not it. Dashboard, market, shop. No, that's not it. How do you do this? That makes it so difficult. No. All right, guys. Everything's good. Everything. No wonder no one's buying stuff from me. Don't even link it properly. How do you go down here? Just go down here. No. I sold a product last week. That was probably me buying it. How do I do this? Visit shop. Here we are. Here's a link. All right. I got some new designs, man. I got a single new design, but hopefully it'll be good. I'll link it right in here. Yes. Broken. Go here. Go to Fauxtaku Lounge. Yeah, I got to fix that. Oh, you're going to be using a 150 millimeter lens? Oh, man. All right, 150 millimeter lens. By the way, this is Victor's question. He's going to be using 150 millimeter lens to do macro. Have you done a lot of macro before? 150 millimeters is great. You can get in close, but and there's a lot of. I found that good macros. It's easier. It seems to be that it's easier to design a lens at around above 100 millimeter lenses for macro. 100 millimeters. It makes a better macro. However, if you want to use a bellows for 100 millimeters, you're not going to get beyond 1 magnification at about probably 30 millimeters. You want to go to 2, you're going to have to get out to 45 or 50 or even 60. So by that time, you're going to have a huge bellows, and the Bell Pro won't work for you. If you want to get in close, macro, you don't use a long lens unless you're doing something for like you want to do insects. Then you want to stay close. The long lens will give you a long working distance. But if you want to photograph something that's not moving, well, bacteria move. But if you want to focus something like fungi, and you want to do it on a bellows, get something 50 to 60 millimeters. That'll get you in real close, and it'll give you a working range probably about like that. And you can reverse the lens if you want. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do, okay? Whole bunch of stuff you can do, but 150 is you're not gonna get in close without a really long extension. But anyway, hey, check out this bad boy here. That's not it. Oh, here. Guys, check this out. I got a new design. That's not it. Paste. Check this out. Okay, now we go to StreamYards, and we're gonna add ourselves. Share screen. Check this out, man. It's gonna blow your brain. Hopefully, Fauxtaku Lounge Spreadshirt. Buy a hat. Nice. Got the horrible branding. Shop now. Check. Wait, what? Why is it not showing my new stuff? Shop now. It's not showing my new stuff. Oh man, they take it down. I thought it was a really good design. They may have taken it down. They may have. Oh, come on, man! Bags and caps. Oh, they. Okay, my new design is awesome, and they took it down. They took it down. Hey, I'll show it to you. Check this out. If we go to, there's a good design. Let's go here. I don't know if Moonshine Graffiti is still around, but he's gonna be like, dude, that was a great design. Check this out. All right. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? That's not it. Oh man, how do I do this? Ah, Teespring, here we are. There we are. All right, guys, check this bad boy out. All right, now how do I do this? I go over to, all right. You guys are like, oh man, he's so boring. Yes, I know, I agree. All right, stop screen. Now check this out. Share screen, check this bad boy out. Application window, right there. Boom. Are you seeing it? All right, so this was on a hat. Looks like maybe it's gone now. I think it did a good job. It's my little dedication to the late great George Floyd. Also with a bit of whether you love him or don't love him. He's got a crown, a corona around his head. That's pretty good looking design. But evidently it's gone from my shop now. Evidently I bought one. And it could be that they took that down. They didn't like that. I think I was pretty reverent in the description of it, but oh well. Anyway, yeah, that's gone. All right, so that's it. 5 of you guys are watching. Victor, It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for watching. Brian, you. Awesome to see you again. Or for the first time, can't remember. And Moonshine. Sorry, I didn't know who you were. 150mm, not going to get you there. 5D2, here's the takedown, the takeaway. 5D2 destroys the X-T3 for per pixel quality in macro. Absolutely, there just ain't no comparison. No comparison. Wait, what's it? May you please keep the stream? What's that mean? What's that? I know the words, the meaning, however. The 5D2. You can get the 5D2. I think people have been doing articles about it recently in videos. It is worth everything that people have said. I got mine for around $300, I think. The image quality from it is incredible at base ISO for using in the studio, and it focuses very well in low light. It updates the feedback on the back of the screen or whatever very, very well. So yeah. It's comes with my full recommendation, and it's got very good 20 megapixels. As long as you get the good lenses for it, it's great. So anyway, Victor, thank you. Brian, you, thank you. Dave Balls, or D's Balls, thank you very much. I think that's it. Guys, I'll see you the next time I do one of these things. Hopefully I get some reviews out in the meantime. And hopefully that hat that I ordered from my own bloody shop, which doesn't seem to show up anymore, hopefully it's there. Hopefully I get it. Hopefully I get it. See you guys. Thank you very much. I didn't record this. Should have recorded it. Didn't do it. See you later, Victor. Bye-bye. Wait. Oh, wait. I gotta do it like a nicer... I'm gonna like just remove myself here, and then I'll turn on... No, here's a better way. You do it nicer. You go to Chrome tab. Just zoom out. Just go like that. Yeah. You go back. Go back to the beginning. Yeah, right there. You hit play like that. And then you just kind of fade away, fade away. Am I doing this right? Have I faded? Have I faded? Oh, there we are. There we are. Fade away. Whoa. Record. Brian who? So I don't know what a super sticker is. That's cool. What's a super sticker? If that's a super chat, thank you very much. You'll be the second person or third person who's ever done it. Thank you very much. If that is what that is, thank you very much. If it's not, then I don't know what it is. But it's still pretty cool. All right, guys, see you later. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Stay safe. Wait, no. Take myself, remove. This is smooth.